Hi, this is Paul from Outerloop Coaching and OuterloopCoaching.com. I'm with you in this video to talk about whether cover songs are the best way to grow your fan base. Now, hit me with a comment down below. Are there any bands that you love now that you discovered because they did a cover song? I'd be really curious to find out whether it's happened, and if it has, who is a great example of doing it really well. Also, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so that way you get alerted every time we put a new video here on our Outerloop channel. Now, I was inspired just the other day to make this video because I came across a cover song by a band called The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. It's a very long band name, but I believe they're on Epitaph Records. Double check me on that. I was passively listening to a Spotify playlist of just new songs. It was one of those Discover Weekly or something similar, daily mix, something like that. Spotify algorithm has generated a bunch of mixes for me. I think it's almost daily, sometimes weekly. So I'm always getting hit with new stuff. And this is my favorite way to listen to music rather than listen to stuff that I've already listened to millions of times before. And anyway, so I'm passively listening to this playlist and I hear a song called In Circles that was originally recorded by the band Sunny Day Real Estate. Classic band, singer Jeremy Enig. Make sure you check out his solo stuff as well. And this song comes on and I went, oh yeah, this is Sunny Day Real Estate, but this sounds different. And I immediately checked to see who it was that was performing the song. And it was, as I mentioned, long name, Their World is a Beautiful Place and I No Longer Want to Die. Something like that. No Longer Afraid to Die. That's what it is. So, yeah, so immediately from that, I thought to myself, geez, is the cover song the best way for new bands to get discovered? It certainly worked in this situation. So let's talk about all the different reasons why it worked for me. Now, I listen to other artists on Epitaph Records. I certainly listen to Sunny Day Real Estate on occasion because they're one of my favorite bands of all times. So it made sense the algorithm would deliver me this song because it's a mixture of things that I already have listened to, I already have on my own personal playlist and so on and so forth. So the algorithms work to provide this to me. So when you do a cover song, this is one of those really great ways to try to get your music to people who are already fans of the artist that you are covering. And if it's an artist that's chosen really, really well, that is what's going to really trigger that algorithm. It's a great way. It's a great way to work with the Spotify algorithms and the algorithms on these other streaming services. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Second thing is that the song title, when I see the song title, I go, oh yeah, I wonder if this is a cover of that song that I love because I recognize the song title. When it has a unique song title, that's going to be really effective. I also might do a search for the band itself, and especially if I don't have a huge catalog, oftentimes when I search for the band, it's going to give me other suggestions beyond just that band, playlists and other artists, albums that might have a similar name, so on and so forth. It's another way that your cover may show up. Certainly, in a case if I just wanted to hear the song In Circles by Sunny Day Real Estate, I might just look up In Circles, and not just Sunny Day Real Estate is going to show up. For example, this cover by The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die will show up as well. And that's another way to get discovered. When I see a band name that sounds interesting, or a band name that, geez, I don't know how it couldn't be interesting like this band name is, it's really difficult to resist the temptation to click it. Now, it's not going to result in a lot of clicks. It's not going to result in millions of clicks, but it is going to be one of those ways in which you can make a really good first impression on potential fans. Now, the other thing that's really great about cover songs is that they're shareable. As soon as I hear this song, what I'm going to do is there are other friends of mine who are fans of Sunny Day Real Estate, and I'll be like, hey, have you heard this cover? This is really good. Sunny Day Real Estate are not putting out not any new music anymore, at least it's been quite a few years. So one of those really great ways I bond with my friends who are fans of that band is by sharing stuff that we discover that's related and that we may not have seen before. And a cover song is another great way to do that. If you're able to cover a song in which people are really, really into in the moment, rather than something that is an old song like In Circles is, that is one of those things that can be really, really shareable. You also have to keep in mind that when you are covering a band song, you're covering a song, you are going to develop an association with that band that may be even stronger than just necessarily the algorithm. But for your fan base who may already be familiar with you and your music, when you cover a song, you are going to give them a little bit of depth as to what it is that you do. For example, when you perhaps are, let's say you are a electric folk music band, and then you do a cover of, let's say, a hardcore punk song, and it works and it is interesting, and now people, when they go back and listen to the rest of your catalog, they may begin to now hear that influence in those songs, and it makes those songs even more interesting. So this may not be exactly what you do. You have to mix and choose the right kind of cover song. But if you have an established fan base and you want to find a way to get them to revisit your catalog because of, in an interesting way, a cover song like that's well selected in this type of way that shows an influence that people may not have been able to put their finger on or may not have been obvious, that's a really great way to do it. It especially works with critics and other people who might do reviews of your music. But there's a couple caveats to using a cover song for growing your fan base. The first thing is you got to remember this is for many people going to be their first impression of you. So you need to provide a unique take or have a unique voice on that cover song that inspires them to dig further. Without that unique voice to it, when you do a cover song, it sounds exactly like the original. What ends up happening is people just go, well, that must be all that they have to show. This example of the cover of In Circles, the singer has a very interesting voice that is different from the voice of the original singer of Sunny Day Real Estate, Jeremy Enigk, but I hear some similarities, and because I'm a fan of Jeremy Enigk's voice, it makes me want to go, hey, I wonder if this guy's voice sounds similar on the rest of his material, and I end up going digging. Now, I nearly broke my wrist trying to type in the band name into YouTube with my remote control because I was watching it on my television, but, you know, it's going to be different for you, I assume. So yes, you need to inspire people who this is the first impression they have of you to go deeper and not just go, oh, it sounds just like the original, and then the relationship ends there. The other thing is that when you choose a cover song, you need to be comfortable with that being the first impression that people have of you. You don't want to have a song that provides a different impression of what you do. For example, if you are a very serious band with some very dramatic lyrics and tone, you don't want to necessarily do a cover song that might be humorous, for example. And when you do that, now people think the rest of your material is going to be the same thing, and it sets a really bad first impression. So you want to have some alignment to what it is that you're building. Remember, the cover song is all about first impressions, and about then, if you have an existing fan base, providing some depth for them to research and go through the rest of your catalog. So when it's really done well, that's what a cover song does. So consider doing it. It's not for everyone. And keep in mind as well that making a really great first impression with original music is probably still the best way to make that first impression in terms of quality. But a cover song may be better in terms of quantity for all the reasons that we talked about earlier, how it's going to work with the algorithms on the streaming services. All right, so this is Paul from Outerloop Coaching. Make sure that you visit you've gotten this far, visit me at outerloopcoaching.com. I got a blog with a ton of stuff, as well as some freebies that you can download there. All right, and I'll see you next time.